We are now official. Welcome to the Builders Call. Uh, I don't even know what day it is. Oh, it's the second Tuesday of February. So good to see your faces. Brad, great to see you. Debbie, Erica, Lori, Selina, and Laura. So today we're going to do a little bit of a different call. It's going to be more interactive and want to jump in and have there's been, well, I would like to create a larger conversation and collaboration around this topic versus it being so much of my voice. We have interviews. We'll have an interview on the next one. But for today, it's really going to be more of a collaborative conversation. So would love to know from each of you what's really working for you right now. And we'll go around and, we'll start with that. And to give you a moment to think about it, I will share with you one thing that's really well for me right now, and that is as I've gotten clearer on how to be positioned in the market, people are now referring me that weren't referring me before. So, by way of example, the messaging, the where I'm going, the what I'm doing, the speaking the future into existence, and obviously being more visible on social media is really working. So for people that have been in the pipeline or conversations in the past in the last year and a half, unsolicited, the feedback has been, oh, I've been seeing your stuff on social media and it's speaking to me or this or that. So, at this late stage of the game, 9 years in, we've got some social media stuff working for us. So that's exciting. And then outside of that, like I had a girlfriend who was here. Hold on, let me move this bone off. Um, Friends that were in from the weekend, and she knew exactly what the avatar is of the kind of person that I'm looking to work with. She met her golfing over the weekend, and so literally the next day, which was Monday morning, I had a 9:30 a.m. breakfast with somebody who is her fourth year in real estate. She did 90 transactions last year on a sales
Wow.
team, 32 years old, and wanting to have a bigger conversation. And so the reason that was able to happen is because I mean, this is a longtime friend of mine for like 12 years, but she knows how to position me in the market now and refer. So those are some great ahas about some things that are working recently is like, do people know how to position you? What do they say about you if they're going to refer you? Are they making introductions to you of people? And I'm not talking about people that are in your organization that are utilizing you for third-party validation calls. I'm talking about people that are not in EXP that are in your world. Do they know how to create those introductions? Do they know the value that you're going to bring to a conversation? And are you getting those door openings or those conversations as a result? So that's an aha, from recently. And then obviously the second one is the power of having the leverage of the branding working in the background. So those are a couple of things that are working really well for me right now, and just some great check-ins and awarenesses and ahas around that. Would love to hear from each of you though, what's working for you right now.
I'll go ahead and start.
Mm.
Um, I think it's not necessarily completely working for us right now, but it is. I'm starting to see the momentum. But I think it goes back to what you just talked about, which was clarity. And for like, I've been here now almost 4 years, 3.5 years, and my organization's like 20 people, and it's cool. And then, yeah, there's been some things and bumps along the road, but I feel like this is a year kind of coming into alignment. For me at least, of where I want to go, who I want to be aligned with, and what what I want to be building. Because I think before it's been so much of watching everybody else and trying to go, okay, well maybe they're going to do it, and then I get on Instagram and there's somebody else, and I'm like, oh, maybe we do it this way. And a lot of there was a chat GPT prompt, and I know it sounds silly, but it basically, after like I've used chat GPT for everything, and it was like, you're really good at ideas and you're terrible at execution. So, um, I think that falls into line with a lot of us, right? And I really have realized this year that like my background is in leadership and coaching and teaching. And I keep fighting it with real estate because it's easy. And so when I think about what's working right now this year, I feel more in line. I just went to the strategy retreat with Casey I don't even know when it was, a month ago, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. It's been a blur this year. But that there was some things that happened there that really helped get me in alignment with what I want to say yes to this year, what I want to say no to. And I think even just in the last 3 weeks of doing that and bringing people along with me, like I took, 2 people with me to Casey's thing. I took 3 people with me to one of Brent's events the other day. And we've already got 3 different people that are, I think Becky's talking to you, Casey, about doing some co-sponsorship because I wasn't super clear on that. But like what I'm saying, what's working, it's stop trying to do 50 different things half-ass or quarter-ass or 1/8 and trying to do 1 or 2 things that are in alignment with exactly where I want to go. And I think that makes all the difference because your messaging, just like you said, can be clear and people can resonate with one thing. They can't resonate with 5 things.
Thank you for sharing. All right, who else? What's working for you right now? In the context of building.
Go. I think for a little while, not I think, I know for a little while, I kind of had a little bit of an imposter syndrome. And so I really kind of put my head down and created a framework of things that I'm doing to help agents. And so I've put it out there. And a girlfriend of mine, which I haven't talked to her in years, but our boys played football together 20 years ago. And we follow each other on social media. And she reached out to me and said she was interviewing brokerages. And I said, well, I hope you have me on the agenda to talk to. And she said, well, I'm already seeing somebody at EXP. And I said, well, let me know how it goes. I said, and just so you know, don't sign anything, but who you partner with matters. And so just kind of, I didn't try to take away from those people. But immediately after her appointment, she said, we need to talk. And I said, okay. Just had a very frank conversation with her. And within 7 days, literally, of her initially reaching out to me, she's signed up, onboarded, the whole 9 yards. So I think getting out of my head and just doing the things, because I can get so caught up in my thoughts, and having that mindset that people have been where I've been, and I can talk to those people really well.
Cool. Thank you. All right, who else?
That's similar to me. Megan had reached out to me looking, saying she knew, she respected me and just wanted to know she's looking for a new brokerage and moving. And so, that's refreshing that, just remembering to ask agents if they're happy where they are and implementing. I just told her my story and why I was happy. And one thing I didn't do a very good job at though was preparing. I talked to Erica and talked to Selina, but I didn't prepare Casey very well. Got away from me. But anyway, she is similar. I think she's kind of ready to hop. And that part I didn't get conveyed, but it does kind of build your confidence in remembering that people kind of look at what you do. And I did the same thing. One thing you don't realize if you haven't been exposed much is it matters who you're connected with. So I had relayed that as well. And I think that's super important because I've heard that from other people in our area. If they'd kind of been more in tune to that, they would have maybe looked around where people think EXP is all just one thing. So I think that's really important. And I haven't done it yet, but I have on my calendar to have coffee or lunch with somebody a couple times a month, another agent, just to see where they're at and what they need. And I can hit 2 birds with one stone because I'm the president of the association this year, so I need it for that as well. So, I think if I can do a minimum of that.
Love that. All right, who's next?
I can go.
All right.
I started my team in April of last year, and I had probably a 90% idea of what I wanted it to look like. But throughout last year, and especially at the end of the year and in January, I really found that celebrating wins on social media, um, agents see that, they see your success, and they get curious. They want to know what you're doing. They, I completely changed up my strategy for my social media in January. Um, you know, Reminding people, that I started a team, that I only am adding value, I'm not taking, I'm giving. And um, so just showing agents what value that I can provide. I actually have added 4 agents on in January, because and 2 of them I had been communicating with for probably the last 2 years. And so, like they say, if it's not if, it's when. And when I changed up showing more value of what we can offer, they started to respond and say, maybe I ought to, look more into that. So I found that that's been working for me. Also getting more involved in the co-sponsorship aspect of, what EXP is offering. I have an agent who has a co-sponsor, and I am a co-sponsor to another agent. So trying to figure out what value you can add as a co-sponsor. I really had to kind of wrap my head around that. And it's, once I gave it like a lot more thought than I was giving it before, it's working out really, really great. So, because I didn't really know what I could offer as a co-sponsor. And then once I figured it out, I'm like, wow, you know what? This is great to be a co-sponsor. I mean, why not? It helps everybody. And the agent gets the best of both worlds.
Cool. Thank you for sharing.
I can go. The couple of things that are happening, that it's not past tense yet, but Mike Koch, who's my sponsor into the organization, and we're doing a webinar coming up on Thursday, and events like that just give me a reason to reach out to people who have been in the pipeline, right? So before the event even takes place, we have a lot of people who are thanking us for the download ahead of time, that are registering for it, that are becoming part of the network. So building value from that perspective, that's been great so far. We'll see how Thursday goes. And then the second one is really supporting. I have somebody who's not on my team, but in my EXP organization. And I think he was at Remax before. And the guy is a full-time sheriff's officer, so full-time police. And he's got 5 kids. He's 5 years away from retiring, from the sheriff's office. And he has a real estate license. And he would sell a couple properties per year. And he came over to EXP. His previous brokerage wasn't doing a whole lot for him. And he came over to EXP, and since January 1st of this year, he's already got 4 deals that are either under contract or closed as a full-time sheriff, as a father of 5. Like, one of them has the handicap. Like, it's an amazing story about him. And he has several other sheriff's officers who he has spoken to are like, what are you doing? And he's helping them with sort of the idea around it, and they're working on getting their license. And so what I've done, and Casey, this is similar to what how I believe you operate, is like somebody who's actually working it. Like, I want to support this person, right? I want to do what I can as a leader to help him grow. And I spoke with the EXP director of growth about this in Southeast United States. Her name's Josie. And I put a bug in his ear to say, what if we did an event? What if we did an event for first responders to help them understand how they could succeed in real estate while they're still, being a public servant? And so he's like, I think I'm there. I think I'm at that spot where I could do something like that. So helping promote him obviously will help build out the organization as well.
I love that. And having previously been in a relationship with a first responder, I know there was a couple of very ambitious guys at the firehouse that were constantly doing real estate in and around their shifts and their days off. So that's a really great niche market, target market, and great people to work with. Love that. Okay, who's next? What's working? We'll keep waiting for Bonnie and Michelle to pop in.
Oh, are you
Okay.
waiting for me? I'm sorry. Oh,
Well, did I miss your share?
yes, you missed it because I'm just starting. I'm still trying to figure out how to work this navigation. So
Okay,
I'm
so
just popping in.
let us know what is working for you so far outside of
Okay,
being on.
I've been doing reach where you email text people. So I've been texting them information from EXP, like my sponsor line, they have all the stuff that they do. So I text them every week about that to show up on the Zoom.
And how's that working for you?
Not.
Okay. Are you up to a recommendation?
Oh, yes. Thank
Have
you.
you, yeah, you're welcome. Have you gone through the Builders Boot Camp online?
Yes, some of it. Not
Okay,
all of
so
it. Oh, so
so
this is different. This is not the same thing. Oh,
no, it is. This is for anyone that wants
oh,
to build an organization.
okay.
So, yeah, I would invite you to go back to that because it's going to give you the exact flow and structure that you'll see with an intentional execution. I think you'll see different results than you're seeing right now. So that would be my invitation. Yeah, check that out.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And thank you for sharing.
Okay, so I was a couple minutes late, so I almost didn't get the question, but I got it figured out now. What we've been doing, and we've been getting good results, was we do workshops every other week here at the office, and we post about it on social media, and we invite all of the agents in our Go High level, and we do direct calling for that. So each of those events, we're getting random different local brokers and agents to come, and we've been building relationships that way. Also, Selena's helped me a little bit, or not a little bit, a lot on this, and you have too. But my son's been helping a lot with running Indeed ads, and we have one ready to commit today from that. So yeah, so we've been running the Indeed ads, and it's we've had some no shows unfortunately, but we're getting that process honed in. So those are two things that are going well for us.
I love that. So, you want to talk about no-shows for a second?
Yeah, we do follow-ups, and we do text messages, and we do all that stuff. But we still have had a few.
Yeah. So, no-shows to me are a sifting and sorting mechanism of who you want to work with and who you don't. And when you're looking at the mass public of people, rescheduling is one thing, but no communication and not showing when you've got an accepted appointment is something totally different. And so I think that there's a balancing act that goes with who wants your time versus who deserves it, and being just like keep going with people that might not be the right people because they're demonstrating who they are, in those initial stages, and or clean it up, right? So like there's one, thinking specifically, there's one somebody that I've been working with that was ready to do their join app and wanted to talk to their broker first, and went and talked to their broker, who happens to be the mother-in-law. And she immediately offered a better split and some kind of earn in, because she wants to retire in a couple of years. And so that had us in a different conversation. I think we talked about this on the last call. about utilizing that clip about why a broker owner of 490 agents moved over to EXP. It was a Cabo clip from like 4 years ago. That was really fantastic. But in the meantime, what's happened is he's been super proactive because his parents are here visiting and both of them very ill. So now we're in a conversation that the business conversation's off the table and on hold, and we're very much in a relationship conversation about how it's going with his parents, him flying them back, internationally. But he's the type of person that I would want to work with because of how he's handling the things that are going on and being communicative and engaged, right? So I don't think no-shows are the end of the world. I think that they help you sift and sort, and particularly when someone knows that they've no-showed, how they handle it on the other side, cleaning it up or getting back on your calendar or being proactive about that. And so it can be like, oh, frustrating that if it's, you've got your day booked and you'd planned for it and now someone's taken that spot and they're not utilizing that spot. But at the same time, it's all information, right, about people and what it's going to be like to be working with those people potentially. So that can help neutralize the frustration that could otherwise come with that kind of scenario.
Yeah, and I picked up on that with the last call you and I have. Like I was definitely I definitely loved the way you're like, okay, we move on. We're next.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Constantly looking for who's looking and who's going to show up, right? So that you're not pushing the ball uphill. You're walking alongside with something that's in motion and you're in motion next to visually, right? Selena or Laura, do you have anything you'd like to share for wins or what's working right now?
I would say it's in conjunction with what Brad said, and it's been supporting. I'm not actively recruiting to my front line at the moment, but I'm definitely supporting all the levels below. It makes me happy, makes me very happy whenever like yesterday I sent Brad one and I was like, woohoo, she's onboarding on Wednesday. I love being able to help them get folks over the line. I think that's where a lot of my time is being spent with the org, and I love it. It's that additional meet and greet and hopefully getting them. I mean, I think I surprised Don the other day. He had me meet someone and then we were onboarding her 2 hours later and he was like, what the heck? And I was like, we get them done, man. We get them done. So it's like, that's fun. It's fun to see people win. And I would say the second part of that is I really love who people are bringing on. It's been very interesting to see who's deciding to make the switch to EXP right now. Like having that conversation with the police officer Brad mentioned. I mean, I liked him so much, and we've been in conversation since. And I think we're getting a really nice group of people who are focused on, being in production, utilizing the tools and resources available to them, and creating community. So I think that's been the biggest win. It's like who's coming is pretty exciting and incredible.
Cool. Thank you for sharing
I'll share a win.
and
Win.
support. Yeah.
So I want to say I'm sorry I missed your Monterey event. And Wendy wanted me to go so bad, but I was in Austin at Elizabeth Riley's event called Shine, and it was like super quick. Like flew in, spent the night, went to the conference all day, and then flew home. But it was amazing because I did meet a really great agent. He's young, he's hungry, he's with KW, and I actually had about only 15 minutes to talk with him about, he wanted to take his business to the next level and he's just not getting what he needs. Anyway, scheduled a call with him. I thought it was going to be about, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes on a Zoom. We were on our Zoom for an hour and a half. And I've invited him to Cabo. He's coming to Cabo. I'm super excited. And he is going to be, if he makes the right move, he's going to be a really great addition to my team. He's closing about 17 transactions a month right now. He's like literally on fire.
Very
So
cool.
I'm really happy about that.
That is fantastic. All right,
And
let's
he's
dig.
an ex-football player, so he's going to be in sports and entertainment too. So that's going to be really great.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Laura, anything you want to contribute as far as what's working right now?
Well, I'm working behind scenes like Selina, but something that you share on social media this week or last week about the book that we are reading as a team, trying to identify some distractions that I have in my life and it could be all personal, but it has to be all work. So I'm trying to identify that and cleaning that space to grow in my work and grow in my life as well.
Love
It's a
that.
great book. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so let's talk about some areas where you all might be stuck or could use some support. What are you running up against that is not working, that feels like there's a friction point with it, or anything that you'd like to create better movement around?
I'd say maybe just even helping us get a better gauge. I know we've talked about this before, but like I'm a systems person, so I like knowing like what happens next and what that support looks like from you guys versus like what should we be, if we're really active in recruiting, what should we be taking on versus you guys taking on. And so, Selena had some great like, hey, here's the first, like we used to have that years ago when we first started, but like really good intro emails of like, here's what happens next. And I know EXP does that too. So I think maybe just some help from our standpoint of flow, if that makes sense.
It does. So I'm going to talk about I'll talk about the prospecting part till before someone's with us, and then I'll have Selena talk about the onboarding and beyond uh, part of that, right? So we'll break them up into two phases. So there's actually three phases, and this is a great topic, actually. Thank you for bringing it up, Erica. There's three phases that someone's in. There's a due diligence phase that can go for months or years, or weeks or days or hours, depending on the person. And then that's stage one. Stage two is the actual onboarding stage when somebody's moving from wherever they're coming from to EXP. And then stage three is the growth stage of what happens with them once they're here. So they're three very distinct stages. In stage one, which is the due diligence stage, if it's your prospect, you control it, period. So it is like you're responsible for whatever meetings it is that you're having with them and helping the due diligence pieces, if that's getting them on the calendar for third-party validation calls, if that's inviting and getting them to events, if that is inviting them to like free Friday coaching calls, going to be my coach is doing it this week. It's on communication. And so he's not a real estate agent, but he has a very interesting experience of real estate agents, which is that they're like, he has a full present 1,000% attention if he wants to transact, and otherwise he gets zero communication or delayed communication or horrible response times. This has been his experience of real estate agents for his entire life. And so great feedback. The call on Friday is going to be like, are you doing a transactional or relational business? And what does that actually mean? And some communication stuff. So, right. So if you've got prospects, they're not with EXP, like it's up to each individual, like you're controlling what's happening with that prospect next and the flow of that. And the example of like yesterday, Becky had a third party validation call that she utilized me for, and there was some follow-up stuff afterwards, which includes wanting to meet with the broker. It's her prospect. She'll take the lead on that. And Selena did a follow-up email with some other stuff that had come up during the call, just so that I could stay in the conversation because and be with that person during the short time we had together. Like, the call started 10 minutes late. We wanted to get through, but there was important things that she needed, right? So in that instance, Selena's on a lot of the calls that I do. She wasn't on that one, and she would have been doing that behind the scenes anyway, and we would have had a real-time conversation with it. But because she wasn't, it was a follow-up thing that happened on the other side because I was off to my next thing. So, but nonetheless, that's Becky's prospect. And so what the next steps were for that gal, we're getting the information, which we now have for her, and getting a call set up with the broker. And then so it'll be on Becky to keep that going as to what she wants next, what she needs next, until until phase one, called the due diligence phase, is complete. And we know the due diligence phase is complete because somebody's now has an appointment to go through the join app and actually start the joining process. So I know there's different Like multiple people in my organizations have their own systems and their own infrastructure, and they do that because they want to control that process and do it a certain way. Selena and Laura support me in that for people that I'm personally working with, and in, like levels 1, 2, basically somebody that I personally sponsored and maybe somebody that they're, helping. Um, Exception to that would be, Brad's and Selena's organization. So he's like way down in, 5, 6, 7 in my organization. That's normally not where she's going to be onboarding people or helping, because that's not the capacity, right? But that's part of her organization. And then in this instance, right, is helping and doing that for those 100 people that are also part of her organization as part of her own business, right? So from that perspective, the phase one of prospecting is that the prospect's yours until they're over the line. And over the line looks like onboarding. So you're controlling everything about that process, whatever that looks like. And that's going to be different for each person based on what they want next, what they need next, and where they're willing to participate and engage. So, any questions on that?
No, I think that's helpful. I think that's where I'm just trying to go back as we're looking to really build this year, what that looks like. So that's
Yeah. So
perfect.
it's never a handoff.
Mhm.
So if I have like a prospect, I'm not handing them off to Brent. If someone in
Mhm.
the organization has a prospect, I don't want them handing the prospect off to Selena. If they're going to be on that call and be, part of that because they're learning, they're participating, that's their person, great, but it's not a handoff, right?
Mhm.
Until that person is ready to go, like the person that's going to spawn, and this is the important because it's the relationship building piece of like this person's going to come to EXP and you're the person that's going to sponsor them. So it's not a handoff to get the due diligence done for them. It's I'm walking you through each step of this. We're building the relationship each step of the way. I'm part of these conversations with you. I'm the person that is going to be your sponsor in this company. And so a handoff would go against that, because now if you're going to sponsor that person and you're not part of that process, like they're building a relationship with someone that's not you, and with enough of that over time, it's like, oh, okay, well, why wouldn't I just work with this person? Or then this, things get like muddied. And I told my colleague I'm going to join EXP, and they said, oh, well, you could join with me. And now we're in a co-sponsorship conversation where they were never in the conversation before. And it just gets messy. So if you think about, like, I always think about like a helium balloon in stage one. If someone's in a due diligence process, they're like a helium balloon, and I am the person that's holding the string, which means they are connected to me, period. If I let go of the string on the balloon, they are off doing God knows what, even if it's with somebody very capable, like they're on a call with Selena, right? So to get them to the point where they're ready to go, I always take personal responsibility. I want that to duplicate in the organization, that so are the people that are bringing the people. It's like this is your person. So you're the concierge that is creating that experience for them and building that relationship along the way. So that's stage one. Does anyone have any questions on that, or?
Once they're ready and they're saying, how do I sign up? Then we reconnect for help with like so from Selena or you,
So
or
that
we.
so that's a question for Erica. I know you guys had a system that you were onboarding your own people. Is that how's that working in your organization, or what do you?
Well, we just weren't. I mean, we did a decent job, but then I mean, paying Natalie, several $1,000s a year for me was like, and if I was only the team was bringing on like 1 or 2 people a year, it just didn't make sense for me to keep having that expense. So I think that's where I'm kind of trying to figure that out, because then it was like, hey, use Selena, and then so we're like, okay, we'll use Selena. So Selena's got 84 people saying the same thing to her. So I'm trying to figure out as we move forward what I'm trying to just figure out my system for the people that are in my organization for that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So this is the difference between somebody that's actively building and passively attracting here and there, right? So I would say ultimately, if this is like the direction that you're going to want to go and you're going to want to start growing and building, you're probably going to want to have what you do and the way that you do it, so that as people are coming in through Becky or on your third, fourth, fifth, sixth levels, that you guys have some kind of infrastructure for that. My invitation to you would be, is that whoever's going to be doing that is like, so the next person that you have on board, be on the onboarding calls that Selena and Laura do to onboard that person so that you can pull what you want from the systems piece of that as you start to build your own. And then like, just know like, hey, like there's communication. So Becky, if Megan come when Megan's ready to come on board and she wants to onboard, then that next thing is okay, we're gonna, next piece of that is we're gonna set up a 45-minute call and you're gonna get an email with the things that you need. That's part of our system. And so Becky, you're gonna want Megan on that, you on that, Erica on that, and it will come from Selena and Laura will be in that as well. And then invitation would be, hey, we're participating in an observation space for how we onboard people. And then if you want to create, moving forward, but then it's clear like we're taking the lead on onboarding with Megan by way of example so that there's no confusion and nothing gets dropped and what that process looks like all the way through. And then you can create what you want to create out of that. In instances like it's, has been before now, right, Eric? I mean, for goodness sakes, you were having kidney replacement and like all kinds of things going on in life, and this was not a focus, right? So obviously, as part of the organization, if you have people that are coming to the organization, yes, absolutely, we want to do that. But then with if the focus is going to be like, hey, we're growing, building, like, okay, we're going to create the infrastructure for that because it's not possible for there's a capacity issue that comes to play over time if leaders aren't duplicating systems, processes, and people who are taking the lead on stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Great question, though.
And with like teams and stuff, like if we have, so I'm talking to a big team right now out of Idaho, and that still is going to go directly through you guys, correct?
So how that will work is the big team that's in Idaho is in phase 1, so they're in due diligence. So ideally, I'll be on a call with them with you. And then what we will move to from that will be a call with the growth team, which Selena will facilitate that getting set up. And I'll be part of that I'll be in that conversation with you guys through the growth team as part of support, right? And then when they're ready to go and onboard and move over, the growth team will actually facilitate the process of them all onboarding, who's getting sponsored where, who's coming over when, and EXP Corporate does that. So we stay in the communication loop to make sure that everything's happening on schedule and on plan. So again, it's not a handoff to corporate because there are people, right? So we want to make sure that we're controlling that process to make sure that people have a great experience. So still same concept, right? They're in the onboarding space, but I'm making sure that that's happening, right? So EXP will handle all of the logistics on that piece. Yeah. And that's the
One
same.
of the
Oh, go ahead, Brad. Yeah.
so on the third party validation calls where we are then part of, I foresee and I understand the value of that, and I understand everything that you're saying. I also look at my schedule and work coordinating a link for somebody's Calendly to be able to select that and select any time that works for them, and then it's like that 95% of the time doesn't work in my schedule, and so facilitating that is going to again, I see the value there. I just don't know a good workaround for that situation.
Yeah. So I don't ever give a prospect a link. Um, so I'll look at what I have available and then I'll look at the calendar availability and then I'll offer based on that availability to the prospect. That being said, if you're like, let's say that you've got Indeed ads up, like Michelle's running, and it's newer agents or agents that aren't in production, really, you guys don't need a third party validation call to help get them over the line. You've got enough experience, you've been hiring, you've been running your own independent brokerages and teams. Where third party validation calls become important is where you have people of influence that are going to make that having the demonstration of the community and the support as well as seeing who they're going to be in business with is going to get them over the line because of who they are as an agent. So agents that are coming with more credibility, experience, teams, small independents, that's where the third party validation calls come into play. I don't put Brent on third party validation calls with every person that I'm talking to. I use him strategically, right? Because some of them are like 4 or 5 deals a year. Like I'm not going to put him on a call with Brent. Like the third party validation call, the concept of it is still in play, but that's not a good use of Brent's time. And I can get that person over the line and get them plugged in the community without going that route. So it's on a case by case basis. It's not do them every single time necessarily. It is know who needs what when and use it as a tool, if that makes sense.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, so again, it's like there's some interplay, right? And there's like one of the people that I have right now, she's done the Join app and she and her husband are coming to Cabo. They've got tickets, they've got the hotel, they've got their airfare booked, and she's an independent broker and I really want to get her on a call with Brent before Cabo. And she hasn't agreed to one yet. Right? However, because of the place that she's in, she's still in a due diligence phase because she hasn't moved her license. Right? So it doesn't matter that she moved to step 2 on the Join app and went forward with that. The license isn't here, so she's still in the prospecting phase. I recognize that, right? So yeah, the event's going to upgrade her, and if for anybody that's got people that haven't decided or aren't already here, if you're going to take them to larger events like that, I definitely invite you to have that step 1 done and out of the way, the Join app, so that they are connected to you regardless of who they meet or what they hear. There's, yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Do we want to move into onboarding?
Yeah.
Yep.
Any other questions on the step 1 first, though, before we move into onboarding? No? Okay, so we've gone from prospecting phase 1 to onboarding phase 2.
This is so interesting. It's coming up today because I had a call late last night from someone in the org who lost their person who was helping them onboard, and she wanted to see what it looked like. And we had 2 completely different ideas of onboarding. So it was fascinating. We were both saying something, and then all of a sudden we were both like, we're not saying the same thing, are we? I was like, nope, but let's talk about why. So exactly what Casey mentioned, right? It's while we would love to help everyone, on average, we have between 80 and 100 new agents coming into Casey's organization a month. So it's not sustainable to onboard and guide people through 80 to 100 folks every single month. I wish it was, but it's not. But we do our best, right? And I've designed it in a way so that I'm trying to ease whatever log jams that we've seen. So like, for instance, when Casey gives me somebody and we say onboarding, for me, that means the join application. And it's exactly like that's that first step, right? And
Will you show
exactly
the
what
email? Will you
Oh,
show your email?
yeah.
Just, I know we have a
Yeah.
visual crew. I'm visual too, so people can see like experientially what's happening. Thank you.
Yep. Let's see, templates. And guys, I just save these in my Google as templates. Let me make this bigger so you guys can see it. And that way, as I'm scheduling somebody, and the calendar invitation as well. So let's say that you have somebody that's ready to do the join application. They book on either mine or Laura's calendar, and then they're going to get this email right afterwards. And it's like, hey, we're super excited. Here's the day we're scheduled. Yes, they're still getting a calendar invitation, but a lot of people don't look at things. So we send the email as well. And it's like, here's the link again. And it's going to take 30 to 45 minutes. Please don't be in your car, be at your computer, be somewhere quiet. And here's everything that you need to have in order to get that done. Now, the only time this changes is if they're a referral agent only. They don't care about the past transactions or anything like that. And I'll just delete that portion out. And then I give them this information about the mentor program because if they have less than 3, I want them to be aware of that before they come. Do people read it? Almost never. Do I still have to talk about it? Absolutely. And that's okay. We just do it when we get to it. And then just a reminder to them, and I'm always hopeful that whoever has had the prior conversation with them has had this discussion, but I put it here and we talk about it again before we start the joint application. This is not them being moved over. It's only step 1, right? Like this is not going to notify a broker or anything like that. What this does, it gives them a contact, right? Like if they have a question before that. So like sometimes that does happen. They're like, hey, I'd like to know a little bit more before I do the joint application. Now they have access to me and they can ask whatever questions and I can come prepared. Then we have the onboarding call. Everybody got that? Can I stop sharing so I can see your lovely faces? Okay, excellent. Then we jump on, right? And it's like some people it's 30 minutes because they're really great at technology. Some people it's an hour because they want to read every word of the ICA before they sign it at the end, which makes me cringe, but that's okay. We just guide them through it. So we do that. And again, I'm reiterating at the end. I'm like, great news. Like, here's this step is done. Next step is you're going to get an email from EXP and it's going to tell you what the next step is, which is license transfer. Now, the reason I'm saying this right now is because last night in this conversation with this person, they then get on with them for license transfer. And we've talked about doing that in the past. Let me tell you why that's a hiccup if I'm doing each step. I don't ever get the license transfer email. We onboard people in all 50 states. It's different for every single state. Like California, yeah, I got down, pat, no problem. But Wisconsin, it is a whole different animal, and it's one I don't enjoy doing, but we do it. So everybody's like license transfer is a different scenario, including joining the board. She said, well, we help them join the board if they're new. And I'm like, why? It's in the email. Like there's a part of me that I want folks to understand that when I design this, including the email that you mentioned, Erica, which is like, once license transfer happens, here's your first 7 steps I'd really like you to focus on because it can be a little overwhelming when you get all those emails. When I ask them to sign up for Agent Essentials, there's a strategy behind that. Now they know where to go. Like it's giving them the link, it's telling them what to do. That's where all training is. I want them to do that step. The person I was speaking to last night, they don't. They just open it up on their own computer and kind of show them stuff. You learn by doing. Right? Like, so I want them to be invested in exploring EXP University, doing what all of those steps are, and I'm making sure that they're signing up for stock programs, fast cap, like it's all of those really important things, where to go to get signs, business cards, and things like that. Yes, I will share that one as well. So let's see. There's a reason behind it. And it was interesting in the conversation last night because she didn't necessarily agree. And she's like, I really like to walk them through that. Can you guys help me? And I was like, again, 80 to 100 people of doing an onboarding and then a license transfer and then waiting another day for them to get all of the notifications of their logins. It's not sustainable over the long term to do that for that many people. Let me make this big so you can see it. What we want them to do, and everyone here is, like Casey said, it's duplicatable, right? Like we want them to be able to start to self look for this stuff. Here, let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger for you guys. And I tell them this is coming so that they know. I'm like, look for the email from me. You're going to get 900 emails from EXP, but just save the one from Selina, right? And it's like, hey, here's your agent resource guide, right? They get this from EXP, but you'd be surprised by how many people miss it. They're just overwhelmed with everything else that comes in. Join your local association. Like if you're already in, this comes in the email from EXP. So it's not something that they're not going to see. And then I ask them to do all of these things. Guys, this is really good for them. If you haven't taken it, take it yourself. It shows you where everything is. It tells you about SkySlope. It tells you how to choose your CRM. It tells you all of the little ins and outs of the EXP platform. We want them to learn this. You want them to start learning this because there's a capacity issue for you too. You start recruiting at a high level and all of a sudden you have 35, 40 people asking you for all these little things when in reality they received it. You want them to learn it. Resources and benefits, agent essentials, I can't say enough. This I change every time, depending on where I'm onboarding them. When you click this one, it opens up every state. And then all I do is come over here and click on it and I change. And I change it from California to Florida, right? And I put the appropriate link. It's literally 2 seconds of time, 2 seconds. This is a fantastic place for people to go. It has policies and procedures for their state. It has their entire broker team and all of their emails and phone numbers. It has everything about that state, like everything, every past recording for their state contracts class. Like we want them to find this. We want them to do their CRM. I do tell people that close doesn't come with a website because sometimes people make mistakes and I don't want them to choose something that's not going to be good for them. Where to get their starter kit. Here's all of our trainings and everything that we have to offer. Don't forget to sign up for stock purchase plan. By the way, this is one of the most missed things. It shifted and changed. For those of you that haven't onboarded anybody recently, stock purchase used to be in the join application. It's not anymore. It comes in like emails 6 days after they join, and it gets lost because they're in the middle of doing everything that they're doing. And then I get a like, I don't understand why I don't have stock. And I'm like, because there's a lot that's happening when you first transition over and it just gets lost, right? And then I'm always recommending FastCap. Always. This is something new I added in the last month, and it's because after I've onboarded people and talked to them a month later, I call them, their voicemail still says they're with Remax. I'm like, could you update some things out there to say that you're with EXP? I get the best response to this email. Like they're like, done, 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 done. Now, Laura and I are working on something right now where we're going to start for you guys and everyone that comes in every month. We're going to wait a couple of weeks and then we're going to ask them if they managed to get those things done. We want them to make sure they're getting done. It's going to be an email. It's going to be something that comes. I can't call them all. But the idea is to get them into this space where they're learning the systems, they're self-actualizing what needs to be done, and like this is duplicatable for you. Did I cover everything? Questions? Yep.
There's also an email that goes out to them once we get the new report of the agents that have joined, although I don't know that agents get those emails, but can you talk about what goes out, even though it might end up in junk?
They do actually get the first one because I have Zapier running that through Gmail instead of our CRM. So when they come into the system and they're brand spanking new, some people know us, some people don't because of onboarding. There's one that comes from Casey first that welcomes them to the organization and says you're part of a bigger group, right? Like, welcome, like, hello. And like, here's who we are, and here's what's available to you. And then 2 days later, they get one from me. Hey, just wanted to make sure that welcome again. We're a resource for you. Here are all the calls that are available. Again, I get really good replies from that. Sometimes I get people that are like, I don't understand what you mean. How do I know you? You're not my sponsor. And then I explain to them like the family tree sort of a situation. And then our ultimate goal going forward, and Laura and I are working on this right now, because for anybody who uses CRMs at a high level, spam is a problem. We're really working on an automatic opt-in from like as soon as we get them in. So meaning that I'm going to send them a form that we try, and not almost no one ever fills out the form, guys, but we try to get their headshot, bio, birthday, like all of that information so that we can talk about their wins and we post about those like cappers and icons. Almost no one fills it in. However, I'm changing the form a little bit, and the idea is when they click the form, that will create a double opt-in into our CRM and they'll get more stuff from us. No matter where they are in the organization, and this is very exciting because we now have access to like 14 levels, but right now we've been focused on the 7. They're getting notifications of our free Friday coaching calls. They're getting notifications from newsletters. We're just trying to get the email deliverability to be better, right? So we want them to know who we are. We want them to know they have additional resources outside of just the EXP calls, and that they have a support group depending on whatever it is that they need. We're now working on making sure they get into our Facebook group, right? Like we send invitations, not everybody accepts it, but we're going to keep trying to go back to make sure we're pulling them in. So that's kind of that whole onboarding, and it's also mixed in with retention, right? So we're trying to keep them here. So thoughts, questions, anything? I know we only have 4 minutes left.
Thank you for being so brilliant with systems and execution of them.
We're still trying to get them better.
I know that's what we do. We're always like, how do we make it better? And what's in place is fantastic. So from that perspective, that leads us into stage 3, which is like they're here. And so Selena touched, that was a little bit of a crossover into they're here, but basically like if I've sponsored someone personally, like I had a text that went out this morning about getting them in FastCap because I know that's going to be an important program for them, even though they onboarded 3 weeks ago. They like FastCap's the thing for them to do, right? So I'm taking in the growth phase of why someone has come here, making sure that they're getting plugged into what is going to be supportive of them for them to grow to the next level for what they're looking to do while they're here. And so that stays an important piece of the conversation as well. So there's those things that can automate and run behind, and from a system perspective, which is great. However, then there's also the people are squirrely just to begin with. Life happens, and it's real estate, and all that kind of stuff. So that personal touch is key as well. Okay, we are coming to the top of the hour. I feel like this was a very robust, informative. Thank you for asking a great question, Erica, that I think, based on all of the heads nodding, there was great value for everyone, right? There's a program that's actually my call from 11 to 12 today, and there's so many, like 5 million pieces and parts of it that a confused mind does nothing, right? And so helping understand like a flow of, okay, what are these three stages? What do they look like? Who's on first, who's on deck, and getting that. And it takes time to work with, right? And then you'll refine your own process, your own systems and processes over time. And if I look at like Rosie in my organization, Leo in my organization, they all have people that are working in, people that have organizations, have people and have support, like Selena and Laura work with me for support of that. And then as someone's going to grow and build their own organization and that's what they're doing, we want to duplicate those efforts, obviously, from a capacity standpoint and, sustainability for everyone to be able to keep growing and doing that. So. All right. Thank you all for being here this morning. Thank you, Selena and Laura, for everything that you do in the background that makes the things happen in the foreground. And we'll see you, hopefully, we'll see you this Friday on the Free Friday coaching call. We'll be there with Jeff Rogers. The promotion is in the Facebook group, and you'll see it go out on my stories and then a reach text the morning of, like it always does. And you know how to get on my calendar, zoomwithcasey.com if you're doing third-party validation calls. And Bonnie's going to go check out the Builders Bootcamp on empirebuilders.pro, which will be great and help you get some different engagement utilizing a system there as well. Everyone make it a great day. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.